Good evening, Rocken, Larry Locken, Pleiadian Express Productions, Pleiadian Late Night Talk, joined by my co-host 9 hours up the coast in Vancouver, British Columbia, Raquel Toombs. Toomsy Woomsy, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing actually really, really good. Thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Hopefully we can get past some of these technical glitches that seem to plague us and get a good show going. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the twin flame thing and the label that is the twin flame, the catchphrase that is the twin flame. And I never thought I'd find myself in a position where I've done several shows on this, and you probably didn't either. But I think that when we were talking yesterday, it's kind of necessary that we put this out there, our thoughts, because I still don't think of a lot of people are getting the twin flame thing. Well, first of all, the label has a lot to do with it. I see a lot of these people still hung up on the label, and it's like they're just in love with the idea of it, or they want so desperately to find that other person that makes them complete, but yet they really haven't done the work yet to complete themselves. And I'll let you take the ball and run from there, partner.
Okay. Yeah, well, you know how I feel about labels too. But I find that the whole twin flame thing, like, I mean, on the last show that we did, I was like, yeah, I don't really believe in twin flames, but, if it happens, whatever. But with me, like, a lot of things, I mean, I didn't believe in a lot of things until I actually experienced it. But I find that the twin flame thing is really glorified, and a lot of people, it's like romanticized and glorified, and people hear the concept of it, and they so badly want that. I mean, who doesn't? It's ideal, right?
No, I agree with you, and I think, like I had mentioned to you, I threw this analogy out to you when we were talking yesterday, that okay, it hit this big peak, right, where all these people were joining these twin flame groups, talking about it a lot. Still, people are talking about it a lot, but then I think a segment of those interested in it got resigned to the fact and understood it, that they have all this work still to do on themselves, right? And their main purpose is to make themselves complete. And once they do that, then they can make another person happy, or they can make themselves happy with another person once they're complete. But then you've got a lot of these people that are just coming in now that are just so excited about the label of it, and anybody that they meet or have a slight interest in, it seems like they're considering their twin flame. I mean, a twin flame is a very rare thing to find. Of all the Starseed people I deal with in these groups, I only know of a couple people that really, truly, I would consider that label, the definition of that label, apropos to these people, which really there is. Once you make that kind of connection, though, there's really no label needed. Labels are just, people get hung up on them so easy. Kills me sometimes.
Well, not just labels, but the whole idea. And I know that people awaken. And I mean, it's the whole awakening process and everything is a really hard. It's not an easy one. It can be beautiful, but it's so extremely painful too, because everything in yourself comes up, and you have so much to deal with. And so that's pretty well like a full-time thing, concentrating on yourself and walking your own path and doing the work on yourself. And I think that people almost will use the twin flame thing as a, okay, well, now I've met my twin flame, or I'm looking for my twin flame. And I think that sometimes kind of takes away from the work that they have to do on self, or else they think that once they find their twin flame, then the work on themselves stops, and then the union happens, and it's all about together and that union. But the work on yourself, I mean, that doesn't ever really that doesn't stop. As long as you're here, there's still constantly stuff that you're working through, and there's constantly stuff that's coming up. And I just find that for some people, the twin flame thing can be a kind of a distraction, a romanticized ideal or whatever, a distraction from doing the work on themselves. And also something that I know bothers a lot of people, like I've talked to a couple people and I've said, like, I don't need anybody. I don't need you. I don't need you. I don't need anybody to complete me. I don't need anyone to make me happy. I don't need anyone to validate me or to, and I think that a lot of people, like, they still have that, they really want, they want to be needed. And it's kind of like, if some people got, insulted, they get insulted, or, oh, that's really sad when I say that. It's wonderful to really, desire to spend your life with someone, or to get, especially, meeting your twin flame or whatever. Of course, you want to be with them, in reality, in the 3D world. But you just got to realize that, whether, not to stress on it too much, because, if you do, you can really, like, your path, you just lose focus, and it's hard to to do the work on yourself if you're constantly preoccupied with okay, well, geez, I got to be with this person, I need to be with this person, because then I'll be, everything will be hunky-dory. It's kind of like, everything in its time, it will happen. You're working towards it by just doing the work on yourself. And if you're both not at the same level, if you're both, far off, off track or whatever from each other, it is absolutely not going to work if you rush, if you rush it and get together in your physical reality, because you'd probably end up killing each other. Like, see, it's so intense that sometimes you just have to just trust. You have to have patience. You have to have faith, and you have to be able to trust yourself, and trust that that everything's going to happen in divine timing, exactly when it should. The awakening process can't be rushed. Ascension can't be rushed, and the union, in the physical of the twin flames, can't be rushed. Everything exactly when it's time.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's what some people have a hard time coming to terms with, is that it cannot be rushed. It's a matter of, when you hook up with somebody like that, you have to be at the same progression level that they are, as far as, and I'm not going to get into labels with that either, like this person's better than that person, but it's hard to make that connection, because we're all, whether it's just by a month or a day or a year, we're all on different progression levels of the work that we need to do on ourselves. So those things really all have to click completely when hooking up, when getting together with what you think is your twin flame, because all it's going to do, if you don't, is you're going to get caught right back in the same type of a third dimensional relationship that we've always, or like my friend calls a relationship, that we've all been in before, right? And you're right, some people, I think, are so into that label and so into the name. It reminds me of some of these stupid ass reality wedding shows we have here in the USA, where these people have went into hawk. They've spent anywhere from $10,000 to $100,000 on this dream wedding, and you get these women running around going, "Oh, it's my day. This is my day." Well, that's true, but they're so caught up in that day, that wedding, that reception, that they don't. I don't think they see past that, and that, hey, well, gee, after this one big night, well, then we've got to live life together, And
for the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's another thing too. These marriages,
Right?
till death do us part. Till death do us part. Yeah.
Well, and another thing too is, as far as me and research, I love it. There's no there's no instruction manuals for awakening. There's no instruction manuals for spirituality, for ascension, and there's no instruction manuals for twin flames. And I think that like, there's a lot of information out there that's good, but at the same time, I think that there's also people that are absorbing all this information and all this research, and now they're comparing their relationship, or where they're at with their partner, and they're saying, okay, well, we should be doing this, because this says here that we have to do this, and we have to do this, and we have to do that, and we're not doing any of this, so I don't think we're moving forward. And it's kind of like, what, screw that. The problem with instruction manuals is or the problem with it's kind of like, this is like this. It should be natural. It should be like, just know that everything, like, you can't force it, and you can't compare your process or your union or whatever to anybody else's. It's totally unique to you. It's totally unique to the partnership, to the union, whatever. So there is no, you should be doing this, or you shouldn't be doing that, or let's do more of this. There's suggestions out there, but it's all where you're at individually, and then where you're kind of coming together. And remember too, that whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you are connecting in the higher realms, right? In the astral, whatever, you are connected. You are connecting with your flame, your flamer. You're connecting all the time. You just, on the etheric level, on the spiritual level, so it doesn't always have to be a conscious thing. And there's no guidelines and there's no rules and there's no rushing. So just, it's cool. Just, relax and just love it and allow it to happen and feel what you're feeling and let it be. And it's a natural progression of things, and have faith and trust and patience, and it'll be a beautiful thing. If you're going to stress and compare it to somebody else's, then it's going to be hell. You're going to be miserable. Don't be miserable. Just chill. Everything's awesome, right?
Yeah, anytime that you have to work at something, like I can just hear that now, what you said. I can just hear somebody going, well, we should be doing this, we should be doing that, we should be at this level, we should be working on this, working on that. Well, it's not about work. It's about a conscious flow when you get into something like that with somebody else. Otherwise, you're just talking about another 3D, mundane relationship where both people, for a while, it seems cool, and then after a while, they're just kind of holding on to something that really doesn't exist. But it's not a matter of coming to your twin flame, or I hate that. I'm getting to hate that label. I really am, because it really...
You see it, samers.
Yeah. It just deteriorates. It deteriorates from the real true meaning of it. But these people, well, and then you get all these articles that are put out now. Mm-hmm. The 10 guidelines on how I know he or she is my twin flame. The 8 ways I know I'm taking the right steps to meet my twin flame. Well, there really is only one step I could suggest to meeting your twin flame, and that is working on yourself, working on being in love with yourself, not on an ego-based way, but really content and happy with yourself. Mm-hmm. And that will start to put that energy out there. And if it's meant to happen in this lifetime, it will happen in this lifetime. But these people that just keep looking for it, and they're in love with the concept. Mm-hmm. They're in love with the idea. And who wouldn't be? You're right. It's an ideal situation. But they're just so in love with this concept that they completely lose focus on what a twin flame is. They're just so into that name, and it sounds so great, and everything, until you got to wake up in the morning with them each day and decide what you're going to have for dinner, or scrub the bathroom floor, and 3D reality sets in. I mean, my God. I think that they think they're going to find their twin flame, and then they're just going to ascend to the stars or the fairy kingdoms or whatever. And it doesn't work that way. And I'm not saying anybody really thinks that, but their actions really speak that they do. I think it's a little bit of denial, and be quite honest, I think a lot of them have the dreamer's disease,
Well, also, you notice how if you're really, really looking for something, you don't usually find it. Like, I know with me, if I'm looking really hard, like for my glasses or for anything, I'm just looking hard, they could be right on my face and I can't find them. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I just think that, you don't have to, and that's another thing. How do I know if I'm at my twin flame? You know how you know? You just know.
Yeah, you would know. If
you just know. It's undeniable. You just know.
If you have any doubt at all to have to ask that, unless you're in a flute case, you're just asking your close friend to get them to, because you want them to verify it in conversation. That's one thing. But if you have to really ask it and put it out there and think that you're unsure yourself, well, the chances are, and I'm not saying in every case, but the chances are you have not met your twin flame.
Yeah, well, and also you got to realize too that there's going to be doubts, for a lot of people, even when you know that you have, there will still be some doubts there, and that's kind of and not doubts about whether you've met them or not, but doubts about that's just like your insecurities and your ego and your worries or whatever. There's still going to be some doubts there. Well, maybe this person is going to run, or maybe this person is going to, so that's all stuff you got to work on. And if you got, like, if you're jealous, if you got your jealousy issues come up, if you're you're worried that person, it's kind of like then you're so not, if you're still ego driven and you're still, into stuff like that, then that's kind of a surefire sign that there's no way you're ready to get together in the physical. You got to work through all that crap first, right?
Yeah, and it's got to just happen. I mean, this is not anything that can be rushed, unfortunately, because we don't exist in time and reality. These are just progressions that we go on. I mean, you may be a junior in college, and somebody who's a sophomore in high school may think that, oh, well, we're twin flames, but that can't really be, because you're at the different levels, and it's just not going to work out. It's not fair for that spiritual growth of either person. You know what I mean? It's just not fair to go down that road. And now you mentioned the twin flame runner. We talked about that yesterday, okay, privately, and that spawned a funny conversation between us. But you had mentioned that somebody asked, or you saw the comment, "Why is my twin flame a runner?"
Yeah.
Why is my twin flame filed a restraining order against me now? You know what I mean, why, Toomsy Woomsy? Tell us why.
Well, I think that okay, I don't know. I don't read up much about it, except for the stuff that Sif posts in the Twin Flame group, and the stuff that she writes. You know, that really resonates with a lot of stuff. Well, everything about her resonates with me now. It didn't at one time, but it does now. I just love her. So I haven't really but read too much, or about runners or whatever. But the way I see it is that there's times when you have to just kind of pull away. And it's not like you're running away, because like I said, if if that really is your twin flame, and you've met them, everything is going to work out. But there's times when that you have to work on yourself, and that your partner or whatever has to work on themselves. And so, I mean, you're always connected, but there's times when you just you have to step back. It's painful, but there's times when you just you can see what they're working through. You can see what they need to work through. You can see their behavior. You can see there's things creeping up, whether it be insecurities or jealousy or fear or doubt or whatever. And you can't do the work for that person. And also, you can't sit there and constantly reassure that person. That's not for you to constantly, if you have to do that, it's draining, and it takes away from your energy as well. So I think there's times when, of course the connection is not just going to stop, but there's times when you just kind of have to step back, and you have to just kind of, I know, I've asked my guides, and I've kind of worked through it where you can never break the connection, but I've made it so that, it's kind of, I've pulled my energy back a little bit, and it's made it, a bit easier for me, just to deal with things and focus on what I need to focus on here, and let him deal with and focus on what he needs to focus on there. And so I don't know. I don't know too much about the whole running thing, but I know that it's absolutely necessary at times to just conserve your own energy, and to work through things yourself, and to allow that other person, to work through things. And that's when you really have to have, you have to have that complete trust, and you have to have so much faith, and you have to have the patience. But the connection, you know what the connection is, and that it's not just going to go away once you feel it, once you know it. It's a beautiful thing, and so you just kind of hold on to that, even if you're not talking for a few days, or even if you're not talking for a while or whatever, just hold on to the connection, and knowing that you've met that person, and just allow yourself to go through your process, do the work that you need to do, allow them to do the work that they need to do, and just have absolute trust and be patient. I mean, everything is awesome. Everything's going fine.
Yeah, all you can do is all you can do in each now moment. You know what I mean? That's all a person can do, and continue to work on their growth path and whatnot. And I just think it's very important people realize that. And as far as these labels go, like a twin flame runner, well, part of a twin flame is this. Well, that person that's your twin flame, well, guess what? If that were the case, you would also be their twin flame as well. And maybe that person, well, regardless, it's a situation of issues needing to be worked on when things aren't complete like that. But maybe that other person, some of these people, what's really scary, though, is there's a lot of people that I know think this person is their twin flame. So, this person on TV is their twin flame, or this person that they know at work is their twin flame, right? But the reality of it is, it's not their twin flame unless that other person realizes it too, and you guys are gelling. You'll meet people throughout your life that are you go through relationships with, right? And it seemed like it was a great thing, but then the time passed. You guys split. There's all kinds of what we would call, and here we go again with labels, pre-twin flames. you know, other people that are in your soul collective maybe. And so often we mistake that for a twin flame. A twin flame doesn't mean, oh God, I met this really hot guy or hot girl the other night and we resonate so much and boy, I think this is my twin flame. Well, that'd be like saying because I'm pretty good at basketball in high school that I'm going to get $1 million NBA contract. I mean, there's still a million steps to be taken and 1,000 other lucky breaks to have occur for you at the same time. I mean, these
Yeah, but you know,
yeah.
there's such a difference between the energy of soul family and the energy of a twin flame. Like, I mean, there's to me, there's just no mistaking it. There's no mistaking it. And like, you know, you brought up a really good point. Like, if you know, as far as like, if there's any doubts, then that's not who's it. You know, as far as whether that is your, you know, partner or whatever, or your whatever. If there's any doubts and you have to, you know, ask around, or does this say, or take a quiz once you connected with someone, you know, to find out whether it is, then chances are it's not. Another good point you brought up is that you only, you know, you only know once you do connect. Like, so if you're haven't even connected with a person yet, but you've just kind of seen them around or whatever, and okay, well, you know, I don't know, like, you know, you're not going to know yet. Like you said, you're not going to know until you both know, right?
No, I agree.
Like,
Yeah, I totally agree. And you know what, Raquel, not to bring up another cliche, but like you had mentioned it, where, okay, you know, some advice you might have for somebody looking for their twin flame would be, or how do I know somebody's my twin flame? Well, you'll just know. And that sounds cliche, but unfortunately, that is the one case I can tell you right now where that cliche is 100% true. You will know. If you have to ask with any doubt or not 100% sure, even if you're the most unconfident person that's ever lived, you would just know. You would know it for a fact to be, and you would know that the other person felt that same way. In this case, you will just know it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do to rush it. There's no advice questions you can ask, because if you ask for any advice, you're just talking to hear yourself talk or to be reassured. And that's the bottom line. I don't believe that anything is just black and white or yes or no, but this issue here is pretty damn close. And you're right, there is such a different energy between your quote unquote twin flame and your collective soul family. It'd be like a couple that was married forever and they were the golden couple, loved each other. Well, there's a difference between that love for the spouse than that love for anybody else in the family. It's just a different thing. And this is kind of what this is on a higher yet more worked out level. You know, you got to learn the moment these energies will start breaking for a person, if they really are meant to find their twin flame, will be when they are content with being alone. They're happy with being alone. And I know you had mentioned, right, that we were talking, you tell people, you know, I'm just fine with myself being alone. It's fine. And people will say, oh, how sad that is, or God, are you sure? And well, I think part of that too is because you will get people that we've all met in our lives that are looking for somebody, but they've been alone so long, they're just like, fine, I'm happy to be alone, whatever. But when you're a starseed and reach that kind of a mentality, you really do mean it. Like from you, it's genuine. You really are like that. And a lot of us are when we're working on ourselves and getting to that point. But, you know, I mean, you've got to become completely happy and non-ego based, in love with yourself to a T before you could ever dream to hallucinate, to fathom, to be ready for a twin flame.
Absolutely. And also, I think that, well, I know for me, you know, a lot of abuse and a lot of, you know, terrible things happened in my life when I felt that I needed someone, you know, when I was depressed and I was, you know, abusing drugs and I was sick and I always felt that I needed someone. So a lot of people are in, you know, even just like, you know, regular relationships or whatever, you know, if you're constantly feeling that you need something outside of yourself, someone outside of you, you know, that need will put you in situations that are very dangerous to you, that are very harmful to you, that are very unhealthy to you, because quite often people will be with someone, you know, because they feel that they need that person. And that's what I really want people to understand is, and not just understand that as, you know, as a concept or whatever, but understand that, you know, you don't like, okay, would it be, obviously you want to be, with your, with your partner or whatever, you want to be, you will, and I believe that, I will be in this, in this reality, but at the same time, I don't need to be. It's not an absolute need, it's not an absolute need for me. It's, I don't really know how else to explain it except that everything that that I need, I have, I have for myself. So now, when it does happen, it's not because, it'll be an absolutely healthy and beautiful thing because it's not I'm not dependent on someone else for anything. So once, once you reach that, right? Once you realize that, then, then it'll be an absolutely beautiful and healthy thing. But if you're still feeling that you need someone for validation, or you need someone for happiness, or you need someone, then you're just going to kind of be stuck, in that rut and unable to move to the next level, even, individually or together. You're going to be relying on someone else. That's not what it's about. You guys are, you're supposed to come together and, what's that word? Like enhance each other's, and like everything, will be, working together, and everything. Your energy will be stronger because of their energy, like together. But you still have to, stay on your path, and you still have to do your own thing, and know that, you got to kind of, appreciate where you are now. And don't just have that idea in your mind that once you're together with your twin flame, everything is going to be beautiful, and bang, the process is stopped, and this is the next step. I mean, no, it just goes on and on, right?
Yeah,
Be happy where you are
it
now.
just keeps going on, and I think that that's a problem that people get hung up on too, is that they think that once they meet their twin flame, it's just going to be this really, really great thing, and and it turns out to be not quite what they thought, because you still have to work on yourself and maintain and stand in your own power and maintain your own identity, and if you have, a lot of people are in relationships where they complain about it a lot, but they don't want to do anything to get out of it. And what it gets me is, I know people have done that forever, the rut, but it kills me to see star seeds that are still in these ruts. It's like, what the hell are they doing? It's to the point where they're afraid to even chat, or they're afraid to participate in a group thing or do anything with the Starseed groups, like as far as a Google Hangout or whatever, when, oh, well, my husband's going to be home that night. Oh, God, I got to wait till they're out of town, or my wife. And I mean, who in the hell? No, thank you. Who in the hell would want to live like that? And I have before, I guess, but, before I started awakening somewhat a little bit. And I just feel like I could never do that again. Now, I could be persuaded to for a couple of weeks if there was enough greenback involved. No, I'm just kidding. If there was enough money. But at the same time, you can't force a feeling. You can't sit there and we need to work on this and need to work on that. Well, yeah, you definitely do if you're going to be together, but you're not going to be happy doing it. And either, some people are the type of person where they're real needy, or they're the type of person who feels like they need to be needed. So in that case, all you're doing is giving up everything that makes you happy from within to try to satisfy this person. And it's like reaching for that oasis in the desert, and it just keeps staying a few feet ahead of you. You never get there. So whether you're the
option anymore.
Yeah, not at all. So whether you're the type of person who's needy and just needs to have somebody with you all the time. A lot of people just need to be in a relationship. Boy, God, they can't wait. It's like America in war. If they're not in war, they can't wait to gear back up again. These people will get out of a relationship and they'll want to just be with them in one again because they're lonely and all that nonsense, which is understandable, but come on, we're way past that garbage now. And the thing about it is, too, is it's either, like I said, it's either that they're needy or they want to be needed. And either way, it's got to be a complete oneness within. And then at that point, actually, the work really just begins at that point. So people need to understand how intricate this is and how very hard it is to come across your twin flame. And at the same time, there's nothing you can do to rush it except for work on yourself. And in the moment you get completely content within yourself and happy and don't even really think about it much anymore, that's when those energies will start going out there, and maybe you will attract them in this world, in this realm. I mean,
Also, you got to remember too that because it's so romanticized and it's such a glorified concept, and also because you meet, you connect, and that energy. Okay, that's such, that you and your twin flame, your whatever, your flamer is is more than human, right? Like, so they're divine. You're divine being, and so is your partner. But you kind of, it's kind of like you meet and everything. You recognize their spirit. You see their divinity. But you got to remember, they're human. So you're gonna, and you don't know them. You don't know them, even though it's a really kind of screwed up thing. It's a really intense thing because you know them. They are your soul, your spirit. You know them so well spiritually, energetically, but you don't know them in their physicality, in their world. You really don't know much about their life. You got to remember, they're human. They have like a whole, so, and a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I've talked to a couple people that have actually, connected with theirs online, and then met them in the physical, and it was like, oh my God, like this person is like, oh my God, what an asshole, or because you just yeah, it's there's so much to work through, and it's so weird to be so familiar and to love someone so much and to be so connected to them spiritually, but then physically it's like, who the hell are you, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, hence the work that needs to be done still. Hence the work
Yes.
done by both parties. I mean, that's just going to happen until you actually know each other in 3D life. There's still there's going to be these issues, and who knows what could pop up when that occurs. It just, Starseed should know better than that. And I know we get hung up on emotion and all that because we want to be loved, but the label kills me about it. I can't even bring myself sometimes to saying the term twin flame because
I know we've said it so many times. I don't even want to say it anymore. Blah, get it out.
Yeah, I sound like I'm quoting a cliche when all I'm doing by using that term is belittling the greatness of that true process that is, which at that level there is no label for.
No.
I mean, it's just one of the things that is beat into everybody in the Starseed community. The twin flame, the twin flame, the twin flame. Yeah, it's a great thing, but it's a progression of within. So I guess what it comes back to, Raquel, is that it's about working within and going within to find that twin flame, as crazy as that sounds. I don't know. Makes sense to me, girl.
Well, yeah.
Or
remember I found my twin flame, and it was actually a candle with a twin flame. Remember that picture I posted?
Yes, and it was a beautiful candle at that. And the thing about it is you laugh, but that candle probably didn't argue with you. It probably didn't say, you need to work on this.
It had no ego.
No ego. It didn't say, hey, you need to work on making sure my wick is longer. You need to make sure that I stay lit longer. Yeah, I'll stay lit longer. Yeah, definitely.
I'm not comfortable with the way you're lighting me. Please do it differently, right?
Yes.
That.
I just want to light up your life. Yeah, I just want to light up your world with my long wick, baby.
It was awesome. I could just snuff it out anytime I wanted, right? Ideal.
Exactly. It'd be like having a fast forward button for somebody who's going on a rant you don't want to listen to. Go through it.
But yeah, a remote.
And it's not trying to belittle anybody out there that's going through this. I think it just as admins in these various groups is we see this time and time and time again, these questions, and it's just you can feel the energy from them. And I'm not even sure that they quite get the concept of their twin flame. It doesn't mean somebody they fall in love with and have just a quick relationship with or something they've got to work at. It just will happen.
It's a natural thing that will happen. Absolutely.
Trust me, if I was a violent person and knew these people in real life, I'd want to hit them on the head and say, look, listen, there's nothing you can do about it whatsoever but work on yourself. That's your only option. There's nothing else in this world, period, that's going to help it.
Good old Pleiadian curb stomping.
Even if you have met your so-called twin flame and they've done the work they've needed to do or they're at a certain progression level and you're not yet, you're just going to be worried and paranoid all the time, and and meanwhile you're not working on yourself at all. So yeah, the whole term in and of itself, Raquel, I think takes away from the true meaning of what it is.
Yeah, I think it does. But I mean, obviously, like just, like for me, the whole term walk-in, which I still don't know too much about, that's what I
Great point.
am. So I will, I will use like, and I would actually, it's kind of neat. I went up to my metaphysical store. I didn't even know, I knew where it was out here a long time ago, but it had changed locations. I didn't know that. And I just kind of walked in the mall. Mom's like, "What do you want in here?" I'm like, "I don't know, maybe pants or something." So I'm walking through the mall, and then I end up at the store, and I start talking to this woman, and we started talking, and she looked into my eyes, and she said, "Oh my God, welcome home," or something like that. I'm like, "Pardon me?" She goes, "So you're new?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, yeah." Walk in, right? And she's like, "Yeah." And then she even mentioned the Pleiadians, and I was like, I was like blown away, like holy crap. And then I talked to her for a bit. She owns the store. And then I went in there again today, and I purchased some rose quartz. I knew I needed some rose quartz, so I went in there. And then we started talking, and I mentioned the show here, so she wanted to, and then we started talking about twin flames, and she's amazing. Her name's Julie. I'm gonna go up there more often and visit with her. But she was saying how she met hers in her area where she was, and she said, my God, what a process. She goes like, we almost killed each other. Like, if you're not ready, and you're like, she's in the physical, she goes like, this person, it was like, I loved him so much and I hate him so much at the same time, right? Like, oh my God, love, hate, and both feelings were just as strong. And that's just kind of like, and I was kind of talking to her about, that's what you have like within you, right? That's what it's the amount of love you have towards yourself, the amount of respect you have for yourself. I know there's a lot of people that are still in that, beating themselves up and have a lot of regrets. And even, like I used to hate myself. I'm glad that I lost the hating myself part, because yeah, once you connect, to your divine flame, it's everything about you is going to come up as well. So yeah, but just the way she said that, she goes like, what is that all about? Like, I hate him just as much as I love him, and yet the emotions and the energy is really, really intense. So if you've still got things that you hate about yourself or dislike about yourself, then that you're they're going to be a total, I hate to also say, well, I'm a mirror, everybody's a mirror. No, sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes people are just idiots, and it's not a reflection of yourself at all. But in her, in a lot of cases, and what she was saying was that he was just it was just that love hate thing. And how can you hate someone as much as you love them? But it's just kind of explaining how intense the energy is, and how much work, and she's kind of done the work on herself now, so that's lessened, right? So you will both have aspects of yourself which you haven't totally let go of, which may a lot of anger will come up, a lot of frustration will come up, a lot of jealousy, whatever, that'll come up. And that's just all stuff that that you haven't worked through within yourself. It's not even really about your partner. It's still stuff that you have to resolve within yourself, because once you do, those issues won't come up. Like you won't feel jealousy, you won't feel all that stuff, because you'll know, right, that it's all cool.
Yeah, you'll know that it's cool. And by the way, that's a great story about, hooking up with somebody like that. The shop owner that knew about the Pleiadians and Twin
Yeah.
Flame. What was it? Julie's Metaphysical Shop, now serving the greater Vancouver, British Columbia area and all points in between.
It's actually called Tumblestone's Emporium.
Tumblestone's Emporium, serving
Yeah,
the
it's
greater
Ridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you can help her franchise and branch out to Victoria and Kamloops and all those great
Oh, yeah, that'd be awesome.
communities around it. But as far as working on things right now, there can be a certain level, and this is at a very rare situation where people, you meet your twin flame and there are some issues to work out and some growth patterns to take upon with each other, but that only comes through the patience and understanding of having that unconditional love and unconditional non-judgmental forgiveness. Okay, you have to already be basically at the point where you're ready to reach out and touch the rope to win the race, basically, to do it in that situation. People, what I was hearing from you was that okay, this lady loves him and hates him at the same time with the same passion. It sounds like from what I get from that is, okay, there's a lot of potential there, but the relationship will never evolve. Even if it stays together, her relationship will never evolve to where it could be if there's still that balance of I love him, I hate him sometimes. And that's not to say, hey, we all have problems with each other, but my sense from your passion about how she sounded was that there's those times where these are things that need to be ironed out, and maybe they can't be. That's the really toughest part about it. Maybe she'll find that he was close to being her twin flame at some point, and it's somebody else that was her so-called divine, loving twin triplet.
What I got out of that was the intensity of it. I think that's what she was trying to describe more than anything else, was how bloody intense it is. So when it's really good, it's really good, and when it's really shitty, it's like whoa, whoa, whoa. There's
Sounds 3D to me, girl.
Yeah, there's no middle ground, right? Like, and that's kind of what you have to. And I mean, haven't we always been that way anyway? Aren't starseeds just like that? Like, it's either all or nothing. Perfect. We're either go hard or go home, right? Perfect. So it's totally, especially important for us to find balance, right? Because we've never known balance.
Perfect analogy. And it's sometimes I can get real cynical in my Pleiadian way and sarcastic. And when I hear that, I realize that I just wish that I hope that they would understand and know that it's a long, long, long journey from where they're at to get with to make things copacetic with their twin flame, or even find their twin flame, if you're still having those kind of extremities. You know, and people don't, I hope people don't mishear me on that, because every relationship has a little bit of ups and downs, okay? But if you have unconditional love and forgiveness and no judgment, short of a couple things you could do, there's nothing that could damage that bond, really. And so people need to realize that and relax a little bit. And if you're doing something that bothers your partner, if you're doing something that's not something that's hurting anybody but say per se yourself, and they have a judgment against you for that, well, then chances are you're definitely not with your twin flame if that's the case.
Well, and also, you know, it's really all on you, though, isn't it? Like, you know, as far as
Totally.
not judging people, I don't mean just you, Larry. I mean like on us, right? Like, first, not judging people and accepting people and loving. It's kind of like, you know, everything is, you know, once the inside once it's on the inside, then everything on the outside reflects that. So once there's total acceptance of self, and there's no judgment of self, and there's no, you know, and there's total love of self, then and everyone in your life after that, you know, there's no judgment. I know with me sometimes, you know, I still will get like a little bit judgy, but not really. Like, you know, something might pop into my head real quick, and it's kind of like, whoa, where'd that come? Okay, no, forget it, whatever, right? But really, because I've you know, done the work on myself, and I'm constantly doing the work on myself, I totally love myself, and I accept myself, and I don't criticize myself except for my pictures, you know, with me in pictures. So then it's, you know, it's quite beautiful, because now I can look at, you know, other people, and I have that same love and respect towards other people that I do towards myself, because I know that, you know, when I was sick, and when I was asleep, and when I was overweight, and when I was addicted to drugs, and when I was depressed, I just hated myself, and I was miserable, and so I was always a nice person to everyone else, but at the same time, I couldn't love anybody the way that, you know, I didn't even really know what love was. So now that I'm, you know, I'm loving myself and I'm accepting myself and everything, like, how beautiful, you know, it's so much more beautiful, because then you see that, you know, you feel that way about everyone else too, right? Like, there's no, I don't know, there's no need to judge, and there's no need to worry. But getting back to the whole, you know, twin union or whatever, it's kind of, you know, it's just you just know. Let's take a quiz. Here's a quiz.
How do you know? You just know, and I had to.
That's right. Take this quiz. If you think you met your twin flame, how do you know? You just know. Awesome. So now you know, right? You just know.
If you the 10 signs that you know, if you match 8 of these, chances are you may have met your twin flame. If it's 7, you haven't. If it's 9, you probably have. If it's 10, you definitely have. Okay, yeah. Let's box everything into a guideline, an instruction manual. Let's create a law to solve a problem that we're going to have to create 1,000 other laws to answer every loophole in it to begin with. And what you were saying about, again, I go back to you about being happy with working on your progress by yourself. I would say to you that you were, out of all the people I've ever heard say this in my life, in the groups, but in my 3D life too, say that, you know, I'm just happy being by myself. Gosh, you know, I'm working on it until it, you know, I meet somebody, I'm really, really happy with it. And if I don't, I don't. I think that you're the only person who's told me that ever in my life, where I just about 100% really, really totally believed you.
Just
And not that
about,
any people,
just about 100%.
oh, you know, girl, 100%. Yeah, but even the few others that I thought were close to meaning that, I knew that there was some kind of denial of that, and I could just hear the sadness in their voice. But I'm to the point where it's like, I'm like, you can tell anybody that, but don't bullshit me. Don't, when you're talking to me, don't bullshit me, because I know there's no sense in trying to hide something or to try to make yourself look better or not expose. I have no judgment whatsoever, period.
No, but we see everything. We feel everything. We know everything.
Yes.
So someone to even try and bullshit us, it's like, are you serious? And especially if your twin flame tries to bullshit you, it's like, give your head a shake, man. I am you. You can't put anything past me. You can't lie. You can't, you know, I see, I feel, right?
Yes, because the night definitely has 1,000 eyes with us. And right, and it's not just that with your twin flame, right? It's with anybody. And what that's about is because we are all knowing, but we have no judgment. So we understand that every scenario we're in, anything is an innate possibility. You could be dealing with Hitler or Mother Teresa and all points in between. But all you can do is take those scenarios now moment by now moment and keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. Don't sit there and manifest in your head what you think's going to happen, or, oh, God, they're up to this, they're up to that. Ooh,
that's how we create it, too. And also, one thing I want to mention, too, is don't, I hate it when people say you have to do this or don't do that. Don't take my word for it. These are just suggestions that help me very much. But I find that always be fine with where you are. Okay? Don't think that being somewhere else or the next moment or being in a different location or being whatever is going to be better than this moment. And okay, well, I can't wait till I can go here because then I'll have this, or because then I'll be happy, or because then, bullshit. You have right now, you have this moment, and this is really powerful, is that you choose, at any given moment, you choose how you want to feel. Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel miserable? Because all you have is right now. So don't keep thinking that, okay, you know, I connected with my twin flame. Now I have to be together with them in physical reality because where I'm at right now is so shitty, and everything will be better once I get over there. It's kind of like, then you're missing, you know, if you're always thinking, well, then what of the moment now? What the hell, right? Like, I mean, concentrate on it. And also, you know, it's a pretty amazing, outstanding, huge thing to connect with you know, with your flaming Mo. It's a huge it's a huge thing to connect. Like, it's a huge thing. So you have that. You know, once you connect with your twin flame, don't worry so much about, okay, how are we going to make plans? How are we going to make this happen? You know what? You've connected. Yeehaw, big galactic high five, right? I mean, that's a huge thing. Nobody can take that away from you. And, you know, like, wow, how wonderful is that? So if you're ever feeling kind of shitty and thinking, okay, well, I'm not with them in the physical, and I'm worried about this, I'm worried about that, just do the galactic high five thing and say, yes, you know, I've arrived. We have, you know, we've connected here and now. That's huge. Don't lose sight of that.
Yeah, no, totally, I agree. And my cynical part of me would like to tell somebody like that who would say, well, God, everything will just be better when I get with my twin flame. Everything will just be better when I move to where everything will just be better when we're together and all that. Well, that right there tells me that they're nowhere near ready. If they are not willing to take the time to work on what they need to while they're alone, and if they can't get, I'm not saying just as happy, but if they can't get pretty much 80 to 90% as content as they would be living every day with the love of their life or their twin flame, if they can't be that way already alone, hey, it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work when you go meet Joe Blow or Josephine Blow, across the world or country or wherever next door. It's not going to work unless you've already done a little bit of that work on yourself and you're almost as content being alone. If you just keep hoping that it's just going to be better, it's just going to fall, this better situation, right, is just going to fall from the stars to me without doing any work. I mean, you'd be the luckiest person ever in the history of the cosmos, but I guess you can sit around and bank on that. But then again, you could win the super lotto twice a year for the rest of your life and you'll never win it once,
Not if you don't play, and I don't play, but I could win anyway. Who knows? Who knows?
Yes,
miracles happen every day. Money might just fall from the sky. Like, I mean, I wasn't, like, I think, like, I know that on our last show, it was like, okay, well, I don't believe in it, I don't believe in it. And then, it's just kind of like, bang, right? Like, it's just, I don't know. I think that a lot of people are, are connecting again in the here and now. Don't stress over it. Do the work on yourself. Everything is working out. Everything is going as planned. Right now, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. The one moment is not better than the next because you have right now. And just, have faith. And I mean, if you can have faith and you can trust and you can love yourself and accept yourself, then you can have faith and trust and love and accept, everybody else or your significant other or the universe or, whatever. And it's just so, like I said, it's so important, to be patient and just to know, because see, I guess it's easy for me to say because I have complete trust and complete faith, and I know that all is working out exactly as it should. I know without a shadow of a doubt. So that's where I'm at, and a lot of people aren't at that point yet, and they still have a lot of insecurities, and they don't know that. Well, what if this doesn't work out? And what if that, but I don't know. I guess it's just like a process to get to this point. But really, like, amazing things are happening, and if you don't believe it, I mean, have a look at your life now compared to what it was even 6 months ago, or a year ago, or 2 years ago. Anything and everything is possible. And wonderful, amazing things are happening. You just got to keep your vibrations high and keep on your path, and everything's going to unfold naturally and come to you. It really will. I mean, that's just the way, the natural order of things now.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? You mentioned the last show that we did together, and I wanted to encourage everybody out there to take a look at least one part of that show. My audio wasn't working very good as far as my microphone went on that show, but I had Victoria Pleiadian on with us, and the two of you towards about the end of that show had a kind of a little talk and exchange about the twin flame thing, and the way you both articulated it was perfect. She kind of hit it from that angle of when you find your twin flame, what it really is like, right? She laid that down in a perfect tone, and then you laid it down as far as the work that you need to do and understanding that you're content with knowing that eventually, if it's meant to be, you're going to come online with your twin flame, and that's just how it'll be, and it can't be rushed. But I thought that was a brilliant exchange between two total starseed angelic ladies, and that was that's on the PEP, and that was a couple shows ago, and it was me, you, and Victoria that did that, and it was just wonderful because that kind of understanding, if everybody on each side could be at that kind of an understanding, then humanity would truly awaken with this twin flame thing. But then again, we'd have to get past the label of it too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For shizzle my nizzle.
For shizzle my nizzle, my big nap too.
I have to pee. Do you want? Are we almost done, or do you want to keep talking?
I think so. I think we are. I think that, you know what? I think that we are, and I think, well, do you have any? I mean, I just want people to understand out there that it's a process, okay? And then once you find that so-called twin flame, then the process really starts.
Oh, yeah.
Bring 3D into it and the multidimensional concepts into it. So I just want to remind everybody of that. And do you have anything else you wanted to say before we bid everybody?
Just also a reminder is don't worry so much, and don't put so much pressure on on yourself to find, or put so much pressure on your partner. It's just don't force anything, and don't think you need to be doing anything other than what you're doing. There's no there's no instruction manuals. There's no right or wrong way. There's really not. There's no right or wrong way. And if you're going to go, go like we said earlier, going to go by someone else's advice or by someone else's experience and now start judging yours, well, we're not at this level, we're not doing this. Screw that. Throw all that out the window and just go with it. Just go with it and do what, do what feels right. Connect when you feel like connecting. Do your own thing. Stay on course and just don't, try not to, don't have patience. Don't rush things. Trust in the process. Trust in the process. Everything's wonderful.
Yeah,
Really, it is.
It is. Everything is wonderful. And if anybody still has any questions, they can also send for Raquel's 10 guidelines to know that you're on the right path and what she would do and think and say, no, I'm just kidding. But exactly, don't quote other people. It's one thing to ask for advice, right? But it's
Don't
a whole
compare.
other thing to get there and quote people and, well, this person said that, this person said that, we're not doing this, we should be working on that, we're not doing this. Well, then maybe part of it is that you should be, but if you're not, chances are that's not your twin flame, if there's all these issues that keep coming up. But yeah, great show, great topic, Raquel. And before we go ahead and get on out of here, of course, I don't think I even have to ask you this, but of course, if anybody wants to find Raquel Toombs, I'll say it for her because I like to talk sometimes. Raquel can be found on Facebook, Raquel Toombs, just like her name's spelled. She's a gorgeous brunette Starseed woman from Vancouver, British Columbia, the suburbs, or somewhere up in that neck of the woods. About 9 hours in a direct line up the coast from me down here in Oregon in the USA. But it makes it good because we're on the same in the same time zone for these shows. So yeah, and I just wanted to wish everybody out there a great week, and I hope everybody's doing good. And wanted to give a shout out, of course, to all our Pleiadian groups: the Pleiadians, Fringe Thinkers, Canadian Pleiadian and Pacific Northwest, Pleiadians UK, Icelandic Pleiadian Twin Flame Group, Pleiadian Reiki, Lyran Kingdoms and Fairies, and I could go on and on because we have about 40 of them in our posse, our Pleiadian posse of groups. Much love, of course, to the great Leah Shapiro, the Great Leah Alien Tribe, and the Pleiadians Mothership Group that we both are fortunate enough to admin in. And I guess with that being said, Raquel, unless you wanted to rant on some more, we can give everybody a big cosmic dating game kiss and bid them adieu.
Okay.
Okay. Well, this is Rocken Larry Locken for Ravishing Raquel Toombs, my co-host, saying here's a big dating game cosmic kiss for everybody. Da 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 da. Mwah. And that's a wrap. And we're off the air, girl.
Okay.